Case against former FBI Director James Comey. So what's next?
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at 4 p.m.
It was a 10-year deal, and we were only into year 3 or 4 of this deal. We will explore every avenue, pursue every avenue to try to get all of the incentives back, because, yeah, it's angering. It angers me for sure.
Groveland City leaders say they want their money back after Kroger announced it is closing its facility there. More than 1,000 people who work there found out last week they will soon be without a job. Now, Lake County commissioners are looking at their options to recover $1.2 million paid out as part of an economic incentive agreement. Your Lake County community correspondent Emily McLeod joins us now live from Groveland, from outside the fulfillment center. And Emily, Lake County Commissioner Sean Parks says certain requirements had to be met during the agreement in order for Kroger to receive those incentive payments. What happened?
You're exactly right. Commissioner Parks tells me while the fulfillment center was open, they were hitting those marks in order to qualify for those payments. But now county leaders are looking at all of the avenues to try to recover that money, and they're looking at termination agreements for both Kroger and Ocado, the company that partnered with Kroger in order to open this fulfillment center, because the facility is closing before the 10-year economic incentive agreement expires.
I'm angry about this, and finding out so quickly and the rug being pulled out from underneath us is certainly angering to me.
It's been nearly a week since Lake County was delivered the economic blow that the Kroger Groveland Fulfillment Center would be closing its doors. While an exact date has not been specified, grocery delivery will end on February 1st, 2026, leaving about 1,000 people employed at the Groveland facility scrambling to find new jobs.
Our staff is treating that literally with the urgency of some kind of natural disaster.
And while the county is focused on helping people who lost their jobs, county leaders are also looking at ways to recover the more than $1.2 million paid out between both Ocado and Kroger as part of a 10-year economic incentive agreement.
It was a 10-year deal, and we were only into year 3 or 4 of this deal. We will explore every avenue, pursue every avenue to try to get all of the incentives back, because, yeah, it's angering. It angers me for sure.
In the proposed termination agreements, the county is looking to recover nearly $500,000 from Kroger and nearly $900,000 from Ocado. According to the county, Kroger opened the facility in partnership with Ocado, a company working in grocery warehouse automation.
I can say personally, if it's a 10-year deal, it's a 10-year deal. And that's why I have said personally, I believe that it should come back.
Now, in its letter notifying Ocado of a possible breach, the county says because Kroger publicly announced the closure, the announcement would support that the Ocado-powered portion of the site would also stop operating. We've also reached out to both Ocado and Kroger for their response on these possible termination agreements that will be discussed at the next county commission meeting on December 2nd. We're still waiting to hear back. Now, coming up on News 6 at 5, we're going to hear more from Commissioner Sean Parks and how the county is taking steps to help those that will be impacted by this fulfillment center shutdown. For now, reporting live in Lake County, I'm your Groveland community correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
Emily, thank you. Breaking news now, a federal judge has thrown out criminal charges against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. The judge ruled the prosecutor who brought the charges, Lindsay Halligan, was unlawfully appointed to her position. President Trump appointed Halligan when the previous U.S. attorney refused to indict Comey and James. The Justice Department is expected to appeal, but the judge notes the statute of limitations has already expired in Comey's case. It has been more than 2 weeks now since Titusville teen Anna Kepner was found dead on a Carnival cruise ship. Now, Kepner's stepmom is asking a judge to seal court records in a separate child custody case. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest joins us live in studio. And Mike, we're now learning how Anna may have died.
Well, Ginger, in an interview with ABC News, Anna Kepner's grandparents say they were told by the FBI that the 18-year-old died by asphyxiation. Now, Anna Kepner reportedly showed no signs of being sexually assaulted and did not appear to have consumed drugs or alcohol. Anna Kepner's grandparents say a cabin steward on the Carnival Horizon cruise ship found her body concealed under a bed. Kepner's 16-year-old stepbrother, quote, is a suspect in her murder. Now, that's according to court records in a separate child custody case involving that 16-year-old boy. Kepner's grandmother talked about that stepbrother with ABC News.
He was in a room with her. He was the only one seen coming and going. So I can't accuse him because I don't know what happened in that room. But the summation would be that he did something.
Now, Barbara Kepner there says she overheard that 16-year-old stepbrother saying he does not remember what happened. Meanwhile, the 16-year-old's mother, who is Anna Kepner's stepmother, is asking a judge to seal court records in a child custody dispute involving that boy. Now, Chantel Kepner says both she and her ex-husband should be prohibited from disclosing information about their son, in part to protect his rights to a fair trial should he be charged with a crime. Ginger, he's not charged with anything now.
What a difficult story to get information about, because a lot of this information, none of it is actually coming from the FBI, and you're having trouble getting information, but you've done a great job staying on top of this. So we will continue to follow it. Thank you so much, and we'll check back with you a little bit later, Mike. Thank you. And you can continue to follow all of the latest on this story, all of the twists and turns on our website. Just head on over to clickorlando.com. New at 4, we are learning the driver's perspective after a hit-and-run crash killed a man in Orlando last week. The crash happened on Colonial Drive near Lansing Street. Now, according to the FHP report, we're learning the person who hit them reached out to officers over the weekend, telling officers he thought it was debris he had hit. FHP has the car and is investigating further. No one has been arrested. Developing now in Seminole County, deputies say a man shot after an argument with a suspect who ran away has died. The shooting happened last night around 7:30 on Main Street west of North Beardall Avenue in Midway. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office says two men, quote, exchanged words in the front yard before multiple shots were fired. The victim was taken to the hospital where he died. The suspected shooter ran away in a dark gray sedan. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office says detectives are working strong leads to find the gunman. In the meantime, law enforcement is asking for help trying to find the suspect. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or Crime Line at 800-423-TIPS. A scary scene in Brevard County where a standoff put a neighborhood on hold. This happened on Gray Avenue in Titusville this morning. Anchor Matt Austin is in studio now with more on what happened. Matt?
Well, Ginger, this all started with a family argument, and that's when police say Julius Castellan pulled a gun on a family member and the police were called. But when officers got there, Castellan refused to leave the house, barricaded himself inside, and after 3 hours of negotiations, the SWAT team moved in. After the SWAT team got inside, Castellan was arrested without incident, and while no one was hurt, neighbors are still asking how something like this could happen.
It's over. They got him alive, and hope he's going to do good. I guess he was off his medication or something, I heard.
Castellan's facing several charges, including aggravated assault, domestic violence, and possession of a firearm. Ginger.
All right, Matt, thank you. A live look now at Mount Dora, where it is really just beautiful out there. When isn't it, though? But there are some not so sunny and beautiful days on the horizon. Just in time for Thanksgiving, meteorologist Jonathan Kakis joins us now. Jonathan, not terrible, but, you know, something for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. If you like a little more clouds on Turkey Day, I think that's what we're going to have in store for us. Last week we were talking about when does that front cross. Looks like it's going to be right smack dab in the middle of your Thanksgiving Day. Again, not horrible by any means. We're going to get to that in just 1 second. Nice and quiet throughout the southeast. If you have anywhere to go, if you've started your traveling, really the big hiccups over the next couple of hours going to be towards the deep south parts in the mid-south and southern plains. Otherwise, we are looking good. Air traffic right now, everything is showing green on the eastern seaboard, at least any delays at the airport. Some issues in Houston and also a few issues with our next storm system coming in towards Seattle right now in the Pacific Northwest. In terms for us, our changes really start to come down on Thanksgiving Day. That's going to be our transition day. High temperatures about 10 degrees cooler than where we've been. And we're going to talk about how we get to this point coming up at about 4:17, Ginger.
All right, we'll see you then, Jonathan. Thank you. Nearly 100 days have passed since employees with Florida Department of Transportation first stripped the crosswalk outside of the site of the Pulse nightclub of its rainbow colors. What has followed has been an ongoing push and pull between critics of that decision and the state. And just yesterday, 2 more protesters were arrested after they were accused of covering the crosswalk in chalk. Your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, is in the newsroom now. He's been following the latest on this story. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about what's going on here.
Yeah, Ginger, good evening. These are 2 protesters who are amongst the most visible in the small group of people who have remained vocal in objecting to FDOT's removal of the rainbow colors. Now, over the last few months, we have seen on several occasions the protesters will cover the crosswalk with chalk to resemble what once was, only for FDOT to return and power wash the crosswalk. One of those protesters who was arrested also sent us this video recently of an FDOT employee removing flags from the grass by the sidewalk. Florida Highway Patrol claims that James Houchins and Austin Trahan were captured on video, quote, defacing the crosswalk with chalk. They were charged with a felony-level criminal mischief, interfering with a traffic control device, that being a crosswalk. They were represented by the same attorney. Blake Simons has defended 4 other people who months ago, you might remember, were also accused of defacing the crosswalk. In Monday's cases, Simons tried to argue that there was no probable cause to base the arrests.
No reasonable, prudent person would also believe that it's probable that water-soluble chalk would cause over $1,000 in damage. FDOT's trying to fabricate a crime out of nothing. So I don't find that there's any probable cause for anything wrong. If we do find that, we're indicating that every child or other individual creating chalk art on the street is a criminal.
So the judge in these cases did not find probable cause for the felony criminal mischief charge, but did find probable cause for a misdemeanor level criminal mischief charge. And she granted Houchins and Trahan's release on their own recognizance. I've also reached out to FHP and FDOT. I have not yet heard back, but an FHP spokesperson did tell me in an email last Monday that FHP had not been stationed at the crosswalk for several weeks. Ginger?
Mike Valenti live in our newsroom. Mike, thank you for the update. The city of Orlando says starting next month, it will begin removing items from the former Pulse nightclub as it moves toward building a permanent memorial. Last week, the city announced things like chandeliers, posters, wall sections, and benches will be moved to a controlled storage facility. Some of the items may be included in the final memorial, but no decisions have been made yet. After removal, the site clearing is expected in spring 2026, with construction starting in early fall. City leaders plan to share updated design plans in February and May of next year. Coming up, there are holiday events all over the country and abroad, but not everything is as it seems. Coming up, a cautionary tale coming out of the UK where tourists lined up for a holiday market that wasn't happening. And from one holiday to another, Orlando's professional soccer teams coming together to make sure everyone can have a Thanksgiving meal. We'll tell you where you can get a free turkey. You're watching News 6 at 4 on a Monday. Here's a live look now at our camera at Daytona Beach. We'll be right back.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
With inflation still high, groups across Central Florida are stepping up to help make sure every family has a Thanksgiving. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez was there as one group reached out to the community it calls home to give them turkeys and all the fixins.
Instead of hundreds of soccer fans, the stadium was full to the brim with food and people in need of a helping hand.
These are families who are struggling each and every day to provide even their basic needs.
The 10th annual Orlando City and Orlando Pride Turkey Giveaway saw thousands come in to get ingredients they might not be able to afford themselves.
Things have been hard. This is probably my 5th event, and I've got a couple more. I've heard families coming out at 4 o'clock in the morning to stand in line, so the need is here, and I'm just glad and grateful to serve.
Families were given all of the items that they need to have a happy Thanksgiving, from the sides to the turkey, even the roasting pan needed to cook the bird in.
And then they're getting all the vegetables and stuffing and mashed potatoes and everything else that goes with what we have as a typical Thanksgiving meal. We're also having culturally appropriate meals too. So there are rice in the boxes. Not everybody likes potatoes. And we also are providing a gift card. If you don't like turkey, you can go buy your own protein.
For Orlando's soccer teams, it's a way to give back to the community they call home.
So as you can see from the amount of volunteers we have, our staff looks forward to this every day, every year, and it's one of the best events that we do.
I spoke to people getting the meals about what it means to them to know they'll be able to break bread with their loved ones this Thanksgiving because of this.
There's no words to describe it. Just the sharing, the joy, being with family, being with friends.
Thank you. In Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
And if you can't make it today, there will be another chance tomorrow. The Pendas Law Firm will hold its 17th annual turkey giveaway in Orlando. It will be at the office located on Colonial Drive beginning at 8:30 in the morning. Turkeys will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis for both distributions. And checking in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. Whenever PENDAS does that giveaway, people line up bright and early, even before the sun comes up, because they just need it. So hopefully tomorrow when they do that, the weather will hold out for them.
It's going to be gorgeous. Yeah, no rain in sight. Temperatures in the 60s. You may want the light jacket if you're out early tomorrow morning, but otherwise it's pretty much more of the same where we've been over the last week or so. Here's a live look outside right now in Daytona Beach. Just a few of those high, thin clouds passing by. They pose no threat to any kind of rain. We're back to the upper 70s right now. Breeze off the ocean out of the east-northeast at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Good evening in Titusville. We are sitting at 82, 81 for us in Kissimmee. Groveland, good evening. We are back into the lower 80s as well. On our way tomorrow morning into the lower 60s for most of Central Florida. May have a few of us sneaking into the upper 50s for us in Denellen. We're going to be at 59 tomorrow morning. DeLand, we're going to be right at 61 degrees. Now here's a look for your Tuesday afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
Heading into tomorrow, again, just a few passing clouds. There's the rest of this evening. And again, just a few clouds with us. Again, that breeze off the Atlantic, couple of showers offshore. That should be as close as they get, though. We're going to be dry for the next couple of days. There's 9 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. Maybe some patchy fog early on. That's going to leave us quickly to make way for just a mix of clouds and sun. The white you see on your screen there, that represents the cloud cover again. And just like the last couple of days, most of that going to be that higher thin variety. You can stay up to date with the forecast as we head into Thanksgiving by downloading the free News 6 weather app. There's 11 o'clock on your Tuesday, and we are nice and quiet. Now, for tomorrow afternoon, we are back into the lower 80s. Again, just a few of those clouds passing by. Otherwise, we'll see some sunshine. Rain chance is going to be at 0%. Now, moving into Thanksgiving, that's when we have some changes. We were talking last week that a cold front was eyeing up either Thursday or Friday. It looks like it's going to cross on Friday. Does not mean Thanksgiving is going to be bad. I just don't think we're going to see much sunshine. Just a stray opportunity for a passing shower. It will be quick hitting, will not be significant if you're heading out early for maybe a turkey trot or getting things ready for Thanksgiving dinner. There's 9 o'clock in the morning. Again, things are looking pretty good by that point. Still a stray shower in the mix. And then once we get into the afternoon, I think we're going to start to turn cooler, and that's whenever we keep our clouds locked in. The stray shower opportunity should be leaving us by that point. There comes the front, and as we move into 10 o'clock in the morning on Thanksgiving Day, you see the little bit of green on your screen right there. Just a stray shower as that front comes through. Note the white continues to hang out, though. I think we're locked into the clouds for the better part of your Thursday. There's early on Friday morning. Notice the clouds are now pushing towards South Florida. We have the arrows shifting out of the north. That is going to be a nice little chill to settle in, a short-lived chill that moves in for Black Friday morning. So here we go, mid-70s for highs on Thursday. That's Thanksgiving Day. I think most of us wake up in the 40s on Friday. So festive if you are waiting out to decorate post-Thanksgiving for Christmas. High temperatures into the mid to upper 60s on Friday. We're going to rebound back to near 80 by Sunday, Ginger.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, some people hoping for holiday cheer ended up disappointed and ripped off. How these AI images tricked hundreds of tourists and got them to show up at a Christmas market that didn't exist. That's not nice. This is a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
But I saw multiple posts about it because we were coming to visit, and I was like, that's crazy that we'll be able to go to a Christmas market.
Almost too good to be true, right? Tourists looking for some holiday magic at Buckingham Palace in London got a royal reality check. Turns out what was supposed to be the first ever Christmas market at the palace with wooden stalls and twinkling lights just outside the gates was nothing more than a very merry AI hoax. That's not merry at all. Pictures went viral online, but they were cooked up by artificial intelligence, not royal elves.
It's my first Christmas in London, living in London, and I thought I would see it for the first time in history. I thought I was lucky.
Bloggers pointed out in the AI ad, the market lights were literally hanging from the sky, a clue the festive fantasy was AI generated and not palace approved. Gotta watch out. Port Canaveral is seeing record cruise traffic, but union leaders say not everyone is sharing in the gains. Their demands coming up. And a Central Florida man is now warning about scammers targeting anyone trying to pay off traffic tickets. What you need to watch out for. That's next. A live look now over Port Canaveral. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're following several top stories right now. In Groveland, a little more than 1,000 people who work for the Kroger Fulfillment Center recently found out they will soon be without a job. Now, Kroger announced it would be closing that facility. Lake County is looking to recover nearly $500,000 from Kroger and nearly $900,000 from its warehouse partner. This is because the facility is closing before the 10-year economic incentive agreement expires. In Titusville this morning, a standoff put a neighborhood on hold. Police say Julius Castellon pulled a gun on a family member during an argument. When officers got there, Castellon barricaded himself inside the house. After 3 hours of negotiations, the SWAT team moved in and arrested him. Castellon is facing several charges, including possession of a firearm. 2 more protesters were arrested yesterday after they were accused of covering the Pulse nightclub crosswalk in chalk. They were charged with a felony-level criminal mischief, interfering with a traffic control device, which is a crosswalk. The judge in the case did not find probable cause for the felony criminal mischief charge, but both were granted a release on their own recognizance. While promising to erase his traffic ticket, but ultimately it cost him hundreds of dollars. In this week's Schemes and Rip-Offs Alert, investigator Louis Bolden uncovers how the scheme works and what you need to know to protect yourself.
Did you ever think this could happen from a fender bender?
No.
Damian Shellberger was in a minor crash in his Chevy Silverado. He was ticketed, and even though the damage was minimal, the phone call that came about a week later was costly.
This is Sergeant Anderson with the Volusia County Courthouse and Civil Processing Division. I'm calling in regards to a citation we have here for Mr. Shellberger.
So this person had all of the information.
The price of the ticket, he knew everything. And it made me feel that it was true.
This is in regards to that citation for a failure to use due care, sir.
What normal person can know all this information?
Here's how. After you get a traffic ticket, it goes from the law enforcement agency that issued it to the county clerk of the court's office. Once it gets to the clerk's office, it becomes a public record. And all of the details of the ticket, the date, the vehicle type, are online for anyone to access, even criminals. Shellberger was told he could pay using a payment app.
I would have to pay through one of those, and I can get the ticket removed, no points, no nothing. Just pay the ticket.
He sent the money via Apple Pay. The crook said they didn't get it, so he sent it twice and was out of $332.
I don't want something like this to happen to somebody else.
This is actually a new twist on a familiar scheme.
He told me that I had a $20,000 bond and I was able to pay 10% of it over the phone through Zelle.
Back in May and July, News 6 told you about the jury duty scam.
Every week, criminals claiming to work for the court system or law enforcement call our residents threatening to arrest them for missing jury duty.
So many people are getting the calls and losing money that it prompted Orange County Sheriff John Mina, Clerk of Courts Tiffany Moore Russell, and Chief Judge Lisa Munyon to produce this public service announcement warning the public.
This is a scam.
The clerk's office will never contact you by phone or email, demanding money or personal information.
Shellberger wants others to beware of the latest evolution.
Because if I can get scammed that easy, somebody else can.
Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at theinvestigators@wkmg.com. I'm Louis Bolden, News 6.
Now to Indian River County, where the sheriff's office says the suspect who shot and killed a deputy and a locksmith last week has died. Deputies were serving an eviction notice on a home in Vero Beach. On Friday, when all of this happened, investigators say a man identified as Michael Haberstam started a shootout. A deputy and a locksmith were killed. Another deputy was hurt. The suspect was also shot and died Saturday afternoon. Now, that 47-year-old deputy was a 25-year veteran of the Indian River Sheriff's Office. She has posthumously been promoted to sergeant. All right, a live look now from the Launch Credit Union Port Cam. Big success means big raises for some executives at the port, but some workers there say they are not seeing their fair share of profits. Your Cape Canaveral community correspondent James Barbero takes a look at the union's ongoing contract negotiations.
As Port Canaveral celebrates another year of record cruise travel, this union president is concerned perhaps not everyone working here is getting a fair share of the profits. I introduced you to Kevin Smith a month ago during the government shutdown. We were talking about NASA workers working through the shutdown. Now Kevin's here at the port. Kevin, tell us what brings you here now.
So we've been at the bargaining table with Canaveral Port Authority for about 4 months. And what's offered at the table as their last, best, and final is mere pennies to what is being given to the director level and supervisor level and everybody above them.
So you're saying while the top positions at the port, like CEO Captain John Murray, for example, makes $600,000 a year now, some of your workers might be struggling just to make ends meet?
Absolutely. The wage increases that are offered to them is less than $1. And during these economic difficulties, everybody is suffering.
Kevin with the TWU gave me this chart which shows the proposed raises. The lowest on the list is for parking employees. It's just a $36,000 salary now, and the proposed raise is just 72 cents.
We're at the point right now where we're putting our foot down, and we're going to stand strong together as an organization and make sure that we bring these wages up and make sure that they are enjoying their lives a little bit better.
I also work to get the port side of the story when it comes to negotiations, and the port told me that at one point over the last 4 months, they did have a tentative agreement on negotiations with the union. Kevin, though, tells me that was before the union started looking into the raises the port's management is receiving. Just like the bitter negotiations between Brevard County and its firefighters this year, the union tells me this butting of heads is also headed towards an impasse. In Brevard County, I'm your Cape Canaveral community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Another candidate has entered the race for governor. Republican investor James Fishback says he wants to make life more affordable for Floridians. Fishback is the founder of the investment firm Azoria and free high school debate league called Incubate Debate. Fishback joins what's now a crowded race on the Republican ticket. He'll be facing former House Speaker Paul Renner and Congressman Byron Donalds, but more candidates are expected to file to run. On the Democratic side, Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings is running against ex-Republican Congressman David Jolly. But again, more names on this ticket could be on the way. Primary election day is August 18th next year, with the general election November 3rd. Today, all TSA workers should receive their back pay from the government shutdown by the end of the day. About 90% of the agency's workers have already been paid, and the remaining employees are set to get their money today now that the shutdown is over. TSA workers missed several paychecks during the nation's longest shutdown. That relief is coming just as the holiday travel rush kicks in, with nearly 18 million people expected to fly during Thanksgiving week. And the paycheck is coming just in time as TSA agents get ready for one of the busiest times of the year. The TSA expects to screen nearly 18 million people, as we just said, through the holiday weekend. The Sunday after Thanksgiving could be one of the busiest travel days in TSA history. There have already been some issues, though. CBS's Chris Van Cleve is keeping track of it all.
Thanksgiving travel troubles at New York's JFK Airport Sunday. A roughly 90-minute internet outage paused check-ins at the usually busy Terminal 4, home to Delta and a number of international carriers. In Las Vegas, it wasn't just the race to Thanksgiving that had the airport buzzing. Fans were also rushing to Sin City for the annual F1 race.
I had an early flight, so it was one of the first ones, so I didn't have any problems there.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem used the busy weekend to hand out bonus checks to some TSA officers who worked during the entire government shutdown and announce a $1 billion investment upgrading airport security checkpoints.
We know that it is our responsibility not just to keep travelers safe, but also to make sure that we're getting them to their locations and to their destinations safely, on time, and efficiently.
The nation's airlines expect to fly a record 31 million people during the holiday rush. Frontier Airlines CEO Barry Biffle.
What do you see for the holidays in particular?
I think the holidays are going to continue to be robust. I mean, we're seeing more and more the holidays are a big deal.
Some flyers may have opted to drive because of the uncertainty at airports during the shutdown. The Mercas weren't sure what to expect.
I was very nervous about it. I didn't want to go, but everyone else did. So we came and it was good. Whatever changed, I'm glad, because this was very different than last month.
AAA expects more than 73 million to hit the road, up a bit from last year. But as storms make their way to the eastern part of the U.S., drivers may run into delays and messy conditions.
The FAA expects this to be the busiest Thanksgiving in the number of scheduled flights in at least 15 years. And already starting this Thanksgiving week, we are seeing dozens of cancellations in the Dallas area because of storms that will move across the country. The TSA says the Sunday after Thanksgiving could be the busiest day in its history. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Newark Liberty Airport.
Now, if your travel plans have you hitting the road and not the airport, we have you covered. Trooper Steve is breaking down holiday road safety. That's next. Jonathan.
Nice and comfortable out there right now. We do have some changes coming on the pipeline in time for Thanksgiving. We'll talk about what those are so you're not caught off guard when you wake up Thanksgiving morning at about 4:47.
Plus, city leaders will discuss potential development along Highway 441 in Leesburg, why some people say it isn't the time or the place. And as we head to break, we want to remind you, you can check out the primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. All right, we're going to give you a heads up now. The westbound lanes of I-4, this is near downtown Orlando, are closed. We're told it's due to a crash. This is near mile marker 80. It's near the Sodo area. We're trying to get a closer look at this, and you can see a lot of activity there on the road. Some cars are getting by, but westbound is closed. From what we can see, we're told there's a mound of dirt on the road, so that would definitely stop traffic from moving in that area. We are trying to investigate and figure out exactly what's going on there, and more importantly, when things will start moving again. But we see that there is some heavy machinery in the area. When it reopens and when we find out more about what's going on, we'll tell you here on air and on clickorlando.com. Turning now to Lake County, where Leesburg residents who already deal with heavy congestion on Highway 441 say a proposed development near Pimble Road could make it even worse. News 6's Darrell Baker spoke with neighbors who feel development along 441 is out of control.
441 in Leesburg may look calm now, but Matthew Capistrand, who lives near the road, says weekday traffic is a different story.
Everywhere you go, there's just overdevelopment, and you go in, there's just traffic everywhere, and when snowbirds come down here, and they just get everywhere. You can't get to where you need to go.
He says just getting onto the roadway is hard enough, and a new project could make things worse. This week, the city is considering bringing in a 12,000 square foot mixed-use development right off the highway near Pimble Road, set to feature 278 apartments, a clubhouse, a leasing office, and a boathouse.
In my opinion, the more houses you make, the more traffic there is, and they're not really amped up for that anyways, and the villages is coming through here too, so.
The property would sit right next to Brittany Estates. Some from the community spoke out at last week's Lake County Commission meeting.
Highway 441 is already a challenging road, especially to go left. Honestly, I feel like I'm playing Frogger every time I try.
FDOT is preparing to start several projects on Highway 441, including resurfacing from Mill Street to College Drive. City leaders are set to review the plans at their next commission meeting on Monday. In Leesburg, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
All right, we have some breaking news we want to tell you about right now. We've just confirmed that Robin Severance Lopez, the wife of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez, has struck a plea deal with prosecutors. Under the deal, she will avoid jail time. Of course, we have reporters going through the specifics of this deal and what it entails. You can look for more information on air at 5 o'clock and, of course, on clickorlando.com. Time now for a check of the forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. And Jonathan, no pressure, but a lot of people are coming to town or in town, and they want this weekend to be just perfect, right?
We got you covered. Well, okay, so we're gonna have to define what perfect
means.
Is, yeah. Because if you like clouds and maybe some cooler weather coming in, then it's gonna be perfect for you. If you like what we've had over the past couple of days, maybe not so perfect. We're gonna have you covered either way, though. Warm front surging up from the Gulf right now. That's gonna help our temperatures go up a couple of notches as we get into Thanksgiving Eve by the middle of the day on Wednesday. But we're watching a couple of cold fronts. So you have one back towards Dallas now, so some issues if you're trying to get to Houston or Dallas via plane right now. Right up at the top of your banner, just north of the west of Denver, that is the bigger front that's going to help to change the way that it looks from this to a little more cloudy by the time we get into Thanksgiving Day. Here's a live look outside, beautifully blue skies in downtown Orlando. With our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam, you can stay up to date with the changing forecast by downloading the free News 6 weather app. Air temperatures right now back into the lower 80s. The breeze is out of the east-northeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Right now, we're comfy 76 in Palm Coast. Daytona Beach, we are at 78. Ocala, we are checking in at 82 degrees. Now, tomorrow morning, we're going to wake up back to the upper 50s and lower 60s in parts of Marion County. We're at 64 in Orlando. Holapa, we are at 61 degrees. Now, here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Air temperatures getting back to the lower 80s in Palm Coast tomorrow. Kissimmee will touch 83, 82 in Titusville. Wildwood, good evening. We are back to the lower 80s. We are going to see a few of those clouds passing by. It's the same variety that we've seen over the past few days. Most of them, those higher, thin, wispy clouds that pose no threat to any kind of rainfall. See, the rain chance tomorrow is at 0%. May have a few try to sneak on shore on the coastline, but that's going to be about it. Most of those should stay off. So you see over the next 10 days here, we have a little bit of a dip in the temperature department, and that comes in time for Thanksgiving and for Black Friday especially. We are warm leading up to it, and then you see the dip there as we move into Thanksgiving Day, low to mid 70s for highs, and then high temperatures settling back in on Black Friday to the upper 60s. We will quickly climb out of this dip in the temperature department by the second half of your weekend, and then back by early next work week, we are back into the low to mid 80s. Now the chill will settle in Thanksgiving night and then into Black Friday morning. So if you people still get up early and shop on Black Friday, this is what you're going to have to contend with. So a little chilly. This is going to be a short-lived little cold snap here. We're going to wake up in the lower 40s in Ocala. I would suspect there's going to be a few upper 30s outside of us in Ocala, closer to Fort McCoy. It's 49 in Sanford. This is on Friday morning now, 49 degrees in Orlando on Thanksgiving Day. This is important to note. Hurricane season ends quickly. It ends in a few days, and November 30th is its final day. There's no new development over the next 7 days. The internet would lead you to believe that there is something out there right now. I promise you, there's nothing coming to Florida in early stages of December, at least nothing significant. And again, that's the official no new development expected over the next 7 days from the National Hurricane Center. Friends don't let friends look at the GFS forecast this time of the year. Please, that's not credible at this point. 85 degrees on Wednesday. I want to talk about Turkey. 20% shot on Thursday for a few sprinkles. That's going to be early in the morning as that cold front slides through. Back to the mid-70s. I do think we keep the clouds for most of the day on Thursday, and then there's the chilly Black Friday. 20% shot and warmer on Sunday, Ginger.
I know what's headed our way, Jonathan. A wave of stretch pants.
Oh, it's happening.
It really is. All right, thank you. Well, driving to your holiday destination always feels like the easier way to get around as long as you're doing it safely. Coming up, our traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve, breaks down what you need to know before heading to your Thanksgiving destination. A live look now at beautiful Mount Dora. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Florida Department of Transportation, road rangers, and the Florida Highway Patrol. We hear it every year, all prepping for the busiest holiday travel week. You're not going to be alone out there with thousands of other cars because of all the airport issues, but they will be monitoring with these thousands of cameras. Who's going to be enforcing it? I've got Trooper Garcia here with the Florida Highway Patrol. I love any time that I get to see Trooper Garcia because we used to work together. Now I get to ask her all the questions. Trooper Garcia, crazy week. We hear this all the time, all hands on deck. What does that specifically mean, and where do you get these extra troopers from?
So all of our administrative staff, that's our captains, our lieutenants, we're all out there, all hands on deck, trying to stay visible and avoid any tragedy from happening. The more blue lights that are out there, the more black and tans, the safer we are.
I love when you say that kind of stuff because it gets my pride going too. So does that mean even the PIO, even the troop commander, there's a possibility that you guys are out there this week as well?
Oh, absolutely. And if we see something, we do something about it. We're, again, all hands on deck. We're just trying to make sure that we try to run this holiday safety as smooth as possible for everyone.
So we hear check your tires, make your fluids, top them off in your car. But what as a trooper, if you could fix one thing all drivers, what would you tell a driver that's hitting the road? Make sure that you're doing this.
Well, one thing is that I wish I can control is everyone packs their patience, because if you're patient, you're not speeding. You're limiting that distraction in your vehicle. Everyone, is saving that distance when driving. You don't get those front to rear end collisions. So again, during this holiday travel, especially with everything going on in the airports right now, we're going to have a lot more inbound and outbound traffic in our state through the roads. But if we're all patient and we're all prepared, then we can all be safe.
Obviously, it is a very expensive week between traveling and all the goodies you got to buy. The last thing you want to spend is money on a traffic citation. Here at the Sanford Regional Communications Center, I'm Trooper Steve, News 6.
Godspeed to us all. All right, Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead at 5.
Ginger, we're staying on top of some breaking news. The wife of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez has struck a deal with prosecutors. We'll have details on how it will keep her out of jail. Plus, the bear hunt starts in 2 weeks. We're taking a closer look at who got permits and why some of those permits may go unused. Plus, fighting for his residents, why the mayor of Edgewater believes expensive projects are contributing to the flooding in the cities and neighborhoods around.
Now at 5, Florida days away from its first bear hunt in a decade. A closer look at how those against the hunt are looking to shut it down. Plus,
Lake County officials are looking to recover more than $1 million paid out to Kroger and Ocado as part of a 10-year economic incentive agreement, plus how they plan on helping people who are going to be impacted by the facility's closure.
And the mayor of Edgewater fighting for his community as he says big money projects are contributing to flooding in the city. You're watching News 6 at 5. And breaking tonight, the estranged wife of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez is pleading guilty to charges connected with the suspected illegal gambling operation she's implicated in.
News 6's Mike Valenti joins us in the newsroom
with more on what we know about this. Mike?
Yeah, Ginger, Matt, Robin Severance Lopez will avoid jail time by making this deal, pleading guilty to 2 charges that are less severe than what she was originally facing. Remember, Severance Lopez was one of several people charged alongside Marcos Lopez, accused of taking part in an illegal gambling enterprise that prosecutors say racked up millions of dollars. She was originally charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to commit racketeering, and then prosecutors tacked on an additional charge, accusing her of lying on a bail application. Well, her criminal docket in Lake County shows that Severance Lopez has pleaded guilty to that bail modification charge and to money laundering, now facing 24 months of probation. Severance Lopez was slated to go on trial next month. 3 of her co-defendants, you'll remember, had already pleaded guilty. Now Marcos Lopez stands as the remaining defendant. He will not go on trial until next year. I've reached out, meanwhile, to Severance Lopez's attorney for comment, and I'm waiting to hear back. Guys?
All right, Mike Valenti live in the newsroom for us. Mike, thank you for that update. To keep up with all the latest breaking updates, you can download our News 6 app. You can always check our website, clickorlando.com, for the latest.
A heads up, the westbound lanes of I-4 are closed right now. This is near downtown Orlando due to a crash. It's near marker 80 near the Soto area. From what we can see, there's a mound of dirt on the road. You can see some heavy machinery. It looks like some cranes there, and traffic is having a hard time getting by on that spot there. So this looks like it could take a while to get whatever it is off the road. We're going to let you know as soon as it reopens.
11 days from now, Florida's first bear hunt in a decade is set to begin. This hasn't been seen since 2015.
Thousands of people across the state applied for permits with the hope of being selected through FWC's lottery system. Our own Catherine Silver is looking through data obtained by News 6. Catherine, it's giving us some new insight into who was chosen.
That's exactly right. More than 160,000 entries were submitted, and we know only 172 people were actually chosen. So we set out to see, out of that total, how many bear hunt permits will actually be used. At front doors and in driveways, we've shown you a bear crossing I-4. And even the sighting here at News 6. It's no surprise we live with bears all around Florida. And starting December 6th, the state will have its first hunt since 2015. As we get closer to the actual hunt, we wanted to see who applied, how many times, and who actually got permits. Our questions were answered through a records request to FWC.
These are the people who actually have the bear licenses that were approved.
I sat down with News 6 investigator Donovan Myrie to dig through the data. Thousands of names were on 2 lists, one of established hunters with licenses and one with just the bear permit applicants.
Hunting licenses, over 318,000. Bear license applications, 19,000. And how many bear applications were approved?
172.
We had 128 people that matched from those 2 lists, which left us with 44 people who only were approved for a bear license.
It's more likely that those 44 might have permits that perhaps will go unused. Advocates against the hunt have snagged dozens of permits,
which will reduce the number of bears killed down to about 120 or less.
Chuck O'Neill with Speak Up for Wildlife. Did you enter?
Oh, yeah, big time.
How many times?
About 251. There are people who bought 1 ticket and won. There are people who bought 2 tickets, 5 tickets, and won. So, you can improve your odds, but you can never outwit Lady Luck.
The records we received show that 4 people submitted 400 entries each, the most out of the thousands who did apply. Out of those 4, it looks like 3 of them did, in fact, get selected. Guys?
All right, Catherine, thank you. Meantime, a circuit judge is hearing arguments about whether Florida should even move forward with that bear hunt. Bear Warriors United filed a lawsuit, and it's arguing the hunt is not based on sound science and that it should not happen. FWC has pushed back on that argument.
FWC has made a decision here to go forward with a bear hunt starting on December 6th. And it's made its decision based on outdated and stale population information and models.
This becomes Bear Warriors whining about what they did not get. They didn't get what they wanted because they didn't want a bear hunt.
As Catherine mentioned, the hunt is scheduled to start on December 6th and runs through the 28th.
Well, it's been almost a week since Kroger announced it would be closing down its Groveland distribution facility. So around 1,000 people are now looking for new jobs, and local officials want the county's money back. You see, incentive payments were made as a part of what was supposed to be a 10-year deal. Your Lake County community correspondent Emily McLeod joins us live from Groveland now. So Emily, Lake County Commissioner Sean Parks says they're responding to this as if they were a natural disaster.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Matt, 1,000 jobs right here in our own backyard in Groveland. And not long ago, right up the street, Carol Fulmer Logistics also closed. So you have 2 really big hits to the local economy here in Lake County. Now county commissioners, they are jumping into action. Not only are they looking at reallocating money that would have been used for this economic incentive program for the 2026 fiscal year, but they are also looking at their options to try and recover the more than $1.2 million that's already been paid out over the last few years.
I'm angry about this and, finding out so quickly and the rug being pulled out from underneath us is certainly angering to me.
It's been nearly a week since Lake County was delivered the economic blow that the Kroger Groveland Fulfillment Center would be closing its doors. While an exact date has not been specified, grocery delivery will end on February 1st, 2026, leaving about 1,000 people employed at the Groveland facility scrambling to find new jobs.
Our staff is treating that literally with the urgency of some kind of natural disaster.
And while the county is focused on helping people who lost their jobs, county leaders are also looking at ways to recover the more than $1.2 million paid out between both Ocado Solutions and Kroger as part of a 10-year economic incentive agreement.
It was a 10-year deal, and we were only into year 3 or 4 of this deal. We will explore every avenue, pursue every avenue to try to get all of the incentives back because, it's angering. It angers me for sure.
For the 2026 fiscal year, Lake County had budgeted $400,000 in incentive grant money for both Kroger and Ocado. Now the county is considering reallocating that money to CareerSource Central Florida to sponsor and oversee education and training opportunities for Lake County residents impacted by the facility shutdown.
So I think that's good news for them that will be allocating what was going to be that incentive directly to them to try to help them.
So some welcome news there for people who may be looking for a new job once the Kroger facility here officially shuts down. Commissioner Sean Parks says, though, despite these recent challenges the county has had, he says Lake County is still a great place to do business. Now, we've reached out to both Ocado and Kroger for a statement on these possible termination agreements that the county will be discussing. We're still waiting for a response. So the termination agreements and that $400,000 that the county is looking to reallocate to CareerSource, both of those will be discussed at the upcoming County Commission meeting on December 2nd. For now, reporting live in Groveland, I'm your Lake County community correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
Emily, thank you. Well, Thanksgiving travel looks like it's getting off to a smooth start at Orlando International Airport. A quick check of the flight times shows hardly any delays or cancellations.
Nice.
That's looking nice. Here's a live look at the airport right now. Pretty great day all around. Orlando is again expected to be the top destination for holiday travel across the country. Everybody wants to be us. That's according to AAA. The airport expects to see nearly 1.9 million travelers. Those numbers don't include the millions who will be coming to or leaving the state by car over the next week. Officials expect about 180,000 travelers to pass through MCO the Sunday after Thanksgiving. It is the busiest projected day of that travel stretch.
They hate us because they ain't us.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And the weather looks to be cooperating today for travelers.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day so far outside. Meteorologist Jonathan Kakis joins us now with what we can expect moving forward. Jonathan.
Yeah, the biggest areas travel-wise, at least for the rest of today, going to be closer to Texas. There's some delays getting into Houston and Dallas. Its weather system here going to be causing that. We are nice and quiet all throughout the southeast, even into the northeast if you're catching a flight today or tomorrow up in that direction. Again, it's going to be in the nation's midsection where we're going to have potential issues due to the weather. Locally, as we get into Thanksgiving, we have some changes as well. We're going to be a little bit cooler and cloudy, I think. Temperature is going to be back into the 70s. We're going to talk about how we get to this point and the chill that settles in Thanksgiving night coming up at about 5:17.
Edgewater Mayor Diesel DePue is speaking out after the city lost a lawsuit to Lennar Homes. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Quesada, and a case at the center of the city's ongoing battle with flooding and overdevelopment. The mayor released a personal statement ahead of tonight's shade meeting. In his statement, Mayor Diesel DePue says Edgewater has, quote, stood firm on pausing overdevelopment until the city can fix its flooding issues, and says they're still working towards their moratorium goals. He calls this latest Lennar case, quote, the worst he's ever seen, saying big money continues to push forward projects that he believes would further flood surrounding neighborhoods. The mayor says residents' experiences with repeated flooding should have been enough to do the right thing, and he vows not to give up the fight. DePue also says the city needs a stronger legal team, one that will, quote, fight and stand for flooding victims as Edgewater continues its battle over development. The shade meeting starts at 5 o'clock, followed by the regular council session at 6. The public meeting will resume where council must decide whether to approve the final plan for Lennar and whether the city's development moratorium should continue as flooding remains a major concern. Now, I also reached out to Lennar, who was not available for comment at the time, but of course we'll bring you any new reaction from city leaders and what this means for Edgewater's development moratorium and flooding fixes. In studio, I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Quesada, News 6.
Thanksgiving is this week, and that means many of us will be opening our wallets to pay for the holiday meal.
But some stores are trying to make it a little easier on your budget. Next at 5, where you can go to save on that Thanksgiving meal, even though you're getting all the fixins. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
If you're just joining us, we're following some breaking news. We've confirmed Robin Severance Lopez, the wife of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez, has struck a deal with prosecutors. Under this deal, she will avoid jail time and instead serve probation. You'll remember Severance Lopez was one of several people charged alongside Marcos Lopez, accused of taking part in an illegal gambling enterprise prosecutors say racked up millions of dollars. Marcos won't go to trial until next year.
Millions of Americans across the nation are preparing to see family, eat some good food, and maybe watch some football this Thursday.
But the cost of that Thanksgiving meal hits wallets hard year in and year out. As CBS News' Bradley Blackburn shows us, some retailers are trying to help cut the cost.
At this Stop and Shop in Clifton, New Jersey, shoppers are planning their Thanksgiving menu.
All the carbs, so stuffing, mashed potatoes, and mac and cheese. That's a newer one.
I'm the guest, yeah. I bring the wine.
Of course, the turkey.
Gotta have the turkey.
Yeah, that's the best part.
This year, the store is offering a way to get that spread of holiday favorites on the table for $40.
All of this for $40. You got the turkey, and you've got all the different colored sides, and of course, the dessert with a pumpkin pie.
Other retailers, including Walmart and Aldi, have similar offerings, all to draw in price-conscious customers. Stop and Shop External Communications Manager Daniel Wolk.
We're able to work with our merchandisers to lower these prices and make sure that if we combine them correctly, if we use our own brand Stop and Shop items, which are just as good as other brands, that we can make this possible.
According to Wells Fargo, most families will spend more. The average cost of ingredients to feed 10 people totals $80 if you buy store brand products.
A Wells Fargo analysis found the average cost of this year's Thanksgiving meal is down about 2 to 3%, largely because inflation-sensitive items like beef and eggs aren't on the menu. Savings also depend on your shopping strategy.
We're seeing more pressure on the national brands because the store brands are getting so good and so popular. You want to make sure you get the best value by checking out all those factors.
Stuffing, prepared gravy mix, and fresh cranberries have all dipped between 3 and 4%. And as for the price of the Big Bird, down 3.7%.
Most turkeys, more than 50% of the turkeys in Thanksgiving get sold on a promotion to get you into the store.
All ways to get the most bang for your buck this Thanksgiving. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Clifton, New Jersey.
And as the holiday season gets closer, we're getting results for 6,000 kids and seniors in Central Florida. We have partnered with BFAR Contracting for the Salvation Army's Angel Tree program. At last check, 3,145 angels have been adopted. Way to go. But we still have a lot more who need to be adopted so they can also have a Merry Christmas. If you want to help this year, you can take out your phone, scan the QR code on your screen. It takes you to clickorlando.com/angeltree. We posted information and links to adopt an angel in person or online. You'll find it all right in that article.
And we know what you're thinking. The weather was beautiful today,
Yes.
but they want to know, how is Thanksgiving going to be? And Jonathan, it's not going to look like it did today.
It's
right?
not. No, it's going to look a little different. Doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It's just going to be different than what we've been accustomed to over the last 7 to 10 days. Here's a live look outside Port Canaveral, and it looks gorgeous out there right now. It's a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera. Cold front is on the way. It's not going to be frigid by any means. Just going to be a little bit cooler on Thanksgiving Day. A little colder still if you're up early on Black Friday. You can stay up to date with that forecast by downloading the free News 6 weather app. Daytona Beach, we are looking great as well. Air temperatures back to the mid-70s. That breeze out of the northeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight tonight, watch out for just a little bit of patchy fog. Don't think it's too widespread. There's 7 o'clock on your commute into work tomorrow morning. Things are still looking pretty good. And then we're just kind of in and out of these thin clouds until we get through about Wednesday. Then once we get into Wednesday afternoon, stray opportunity for a downpour possible. This is going to be out ahead of a cold front that is going to bring in some relatively cooler air for Thanksgiving Day, and I think it's going to take the sunshine away a little bit as well. I do think Thanksgiving Day is going to be on the cloudy side. More on that in a second. Leesburg, right now, we're at a nice and warm 79 degrees. Wildwood, we are at 77. Ocala, we are checking in at 79. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Still on the mild side, back to around 60. Again, some may want the light jacket northwest of I-4, but we are seasonably warm and actually a couple of notches above where we should be. Average low temperatures are in the mid-50s. Some of us are going to be into the mid-60s along and southeast of I-4. High temperatures tomorrow, pretty much the same ballpark as where we've been the past couple of days. Low to mid-80s inland, right around 80 degrees along the coast. Rain chances at 0%. Again, those passing clouds that you see throughout the day, they pose no threat to any kind of rainfall as we move into the day on Tuesday, also into early stages of Wednesday. Temperature-wise across the board, we are warm in the southeast. We have a couple of systems dropping the temperatures into the 50s. Our next system, it's a cold front, and you can start to see the makings of it now in the northern tier of the country, where it is in the upper 30s in Billings right now, Bismarck, North Dakota in the lower 40s. That chill starts to come our way a little bit. It's not going to be anything too crazy for us, but what does happen is in your hour-by-hour forecast for Thursday, that's Thanksgiving Day, could have a couple of showers as that front slides through, mainly before lunch. Again, still by 9 o'clock, that stray shower is possible. I don't think this is widespread rain. I don't think it's even a long-lived rain by any means. By 2 o'clock, high temperatures getting back into the low to mid-70s. By 6, we're in the lower 60s, and I think especially north of Orlando, we will start to see some clearing. It's all because of this front. This is on Wednesday. I showed you earlier with the high resolution model. We could have a few downpours early in the afternoon on Wednesday. There are the clouds that hang on Thursday. And then by Friday, that's when the chill settles in. A very short-lived and certainly not as aggressive as what it was a few weeks ago chill that settles in on Friday. So there you go. High temperatures on Thanksgiving Day in the low to mid-70s, just a 20% shot for a few passing showers, mainly before lunchtime. I think most of us wake up in the 40s on Black Friday. High temperatures into the mid to upper 60s. So if you're waiting to decorate for Christmas until after Thanksgiving, it's going to be feeling a little festive, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. The longest government shutdown in history is over, and government workers are getting their back pay.
Yeah, coming up, a closer look at how that could impact your holiday travels. A live look now at downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera, where you're seeing the airport. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. Relief for tens of thousands of TSA workers as the holiday season is fast approaching. A spokesperson says about 90% of them have received back pay now that the government shutdown is over. The rest are receiving the back pay today. Workers missed several paychecks during the shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. Back pay comes as the holiday season is nearly here and the travel rush at airports starts to really pick up. TSA expects to see nearly 18 million travelers this week alone.
Well, months after the city of Orlando condemned a local extended stay, newly obtained documents are laying out why.
Turns out it had to do not only with the state of the hotel, but money the owners owed. The new details are next. Live look at Daytona Beach. You're watching News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back. Glad you're with us. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now.
The estranged wife of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez is pleading guilty to charges connected with the suspected illegal gambling operation she was implicated in. Robin Severance Lopez will avoid jail time by making this plea deal. She was originally charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to commit racketeering, and then prosecutors tacked on another charge accusing her of lying on a bail application. She's now facing 24 months of probation.
11 days from now, Florida's first bear hunt in a decade is set to begin. More than 160,000 entries were submitted, with only 172 people chosen. Out of that total, 128 will be used, since they also have a hunting license as well. The hunt is scheduled to start on December 6th and runs through the 28th. It's been almost a week since Kroger announced it would be closing down its Groveland distribution facility. Around 1,000 people are looking for new jobs, and Lake County wants to recover $1.2 million already paid out. The county is considering reallocating that money to CareerSource Central Florida to sponsor and oversee education and training opportunities for the neighbors impacted.
Well, it has now been months since we saw this. Dozens of families forced out of an extended stay hotel. The city of Orlando condemned the Howard Johnson Hotel, citing unsafe conditions.
Now we're learning the owners racked up tens of thousands of dollars in fines at the property. Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti has been combing through some recently obtained documents.
You might remember back in August seeing the images of code enforcement personnel and Orlando police escorting people out of their rooms at the Howard Johnson on I-Drive. The city had determined that Howard Johnson could not safely operate. At the time, management at the property would not tell us anything, despite my repeated attempts to try to get some clarity on what was going on. Earlier this fall, I filed a public records request with the city to try to learn more. I got back 77 documents, some duplicates, featuring emails, pictures, and reports from code enforcement about the property owned by Roar Orlando I-Drive LLC. You can see a picture of the pool at the hotel, the water appearing pretty murky. We can also see pictures depicting the response from Orlando firefighters, who figured out the fire alarms were not working properly. Then there's an email worth mentioning from someone with code enforcement on August 20th, 2 days after the notice to vacate order was enforced. The email flags 5 open code enforcement cases and 3 liens at the property at 5858 International Drive. In one case, code enforcement had ordered compliance by December 13th of 2024. And because Roar Orlando had not complied by August, the lien was up to $37,350. Another lien had grown to more than $24,000. Fast forward to October 24th. In a code enforcement report, an inspector writes, quote, "the property to be being sold." It appears there might be a word missing there, so it's not clear whether that property has indeed been turned over to new ownership or is close to being sold. I'm Mike Valenti, News 6.
Investigators are searching for the person who killed a 27-year-old man in Sanford over the weekend. This happened right off Main Street in Midway. Investigators say 2 men got into an argument in a front yard and then multiple shots were fired. The victim was taken to the hospital where he died, and the suspect took off in a gray car. Investigators are working leads to try to figure out who it was that pulled that trigger and asking anyone with information to call 911 or Crime Line. We'll bring you the updates as we get them on air and online at clickorlando.com. 2 people are dead and 2 others are hurt after a crash in Apopka. FHP says a Mustang was speeding down Rock Springs Road last night when it hit a van trying to make a left turn. The driver of that Mustang, an 18-year-old, and their 17-year-old passenger were seriously hurt. The driver of the van was not hurt, but both passengers, an 81-year-old and a 94-year-old, died. FHP is investigating. Now let's take you to Indian River County,
where the sheriff's office says the suspect who shot and killed a deputy last week has now died. Now, deputies were serving an eviction notice on a home in Vero Beach on Friday when all of this happened. Investigators say a man identified as Michael Halberstam started a shootout. 47-year-old deputy Terry Sweeting Markshaw and a locksmith on scene were killed. Another deputy was hurt. Halberstam was also shot and died Saturday afternoon. Now, that deputy who was shot was a 25-year-old veteran of the Indian River Sheriff's Office. She has been posthumously promoted to sergeant. USF says it has identified the 3 men accused of disrupting a Muslim student prayer session on campus. Ricardo Yepes, Christopher Sotvek, and Richard Pensosky are all facing felonies tied to the incident that happened almost a week ago. Cell phone video captured 3 men harassing the students, offering them bacon and even spitting at them while they prayed on a rooftop. USF says it will step up patrols at upcoming events. Meantime, Muslim student organizations at schools across Florida have signed onto a joint statement of solidarity, including UCF and Rollins College. They say they will not allow hate to go unchecked.
Another hat in the ring for next year's governor's race. Weeks after Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings announced his candidacy, Republican investor James Fishback announced he's running against Byron Donalds, saying he wants to make life more affordable for Floridians. Fishback is the founder of investment firm Azoria and a free high school debate league called Incubate Debate. Now, like we said, Fishback running against multiple other candidates. On the Republican ticket, he'll be facing Florida House Speaker Paul Renner and U.S. Representative Byron Donalds. In the Democratic side, Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings is running against ex-Republican Congressman David Jolly. Primary election day is August 18th of next year, with the general election November 3rd. The Trump administration was dealt a blow in its legal battle against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James.
A federal judge ruled the top prosecutor who brought the charges was illegally appointed. CBS's Erica Brown is at the White House with more.
A federal judge Monday dismissed the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James, ruling Lindsay Halligan, the interim U.S. attorney who secured their indictments, was unlawfully appointed by the Justice Department.
I'm grateful that the court ended the case against me, which was a prosecution based on malevolence and incompetence.
CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
So this ruling is not about the merits of the case at all. This is all about the prosecutor. This is all about the process that took place to get Lindsay Halligan into the position.
Halligan was appointed as interim prosecutor following the ouster of the previous U.S. attorney, but the judge ruled that interim position is limited to just one prosecutor serving a 120-day period.
What the judge concluded here today is you can't then install somebody else, Lindsay Halligan, to serve another 120-day term. Basically, you get your first 120 days, you don't keep getting 120 days after that.
Comey was charged with making a false statement and obstruction of justice related to his congressional testimony in 2020. And James was charged with bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution.
I know there was a judge who is clearly trying to shield Letitia James and James Comey from receiving accountability.
Both cases were dismissed without prejudice, meaning the Justice Department could seek to refile. Comey's case, however, runs up against a statute of limitations. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
As the Trump administration considers taking military action against Venezuela, the U.S. is planning to increase pressure on President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. alleges Maduro leads a drug cartel, but experts say it's not. In a recent CBS News poll, most think Venezuela is not a major threat to U.S. security and overwhelmingly think President Trump needs to explain any military action inside the country. Puerto Rico's governor welcomes the ramp up of troops, though, and fully supports the president's agenda in the region.
The President of the United States and Secretary of War, they're talking about drugs and literally taking all resources to fight drug cartels. I'm 200% for that.
Well, the Ford aircraft carrier and its squadrons of F-18s have already been conducting exercises in the Caribbean, and roughly a quarter of the Navy's total deployed warships are now concentrated in that area. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff will visit Puerto Rico for the second time to rally troops and thank them for their role in this mission.
Well, Trooper Steve is back and brings us a new look at the men and women who respond when traffic is at its highest.
And it couldn't come sooner with Thanksgiving travel season underway. Steve's looking at how the road rangers are keeping you safe.
Members of the Florida Highway Patrol, Florida Fish and Wildlife, Department of Energy, all housed right here from one regional communications center. This is not only makes things super easy when it comes to being reactive, but when it comes to being proactive, these are the men and women who are keeping the eyes. So when we joke around and say like Big Brother's always watching, I kind of like Big Brother, especially when it's the Department of Transportation guys. I'm going to be joined here by my buddy Garrett. Garrett is the You're the regional road ranger manager.
Yes.
Kind of the boss of the road rangers.
Yeah.
But listen, Garrett's super humble. I've known this guy for a really long time, and I'm gonna break some news because I think it's kind of cool. I didn't know you recently became an auxiliary Florida Highway Patrol trooper.
Yep.
Why in the world would you do that?
Because I don't have enough fun on the road already.
Right?
The number one service we give is fuel, which everyone make sure, I don't know how you run out of gas, but make sure you are always topped up.
You're not wrong, man. Every car has a gauge.
You know what? Exactly. But if you happen to run out of fuel, our road rangers are there and willing to assist, and we have plenty of that for us. Inside the truck, you know what I mean? It's outfitted almost like a police car. It's got our MDT in it where we communicate with the Regional Transportation Management Center, our light controller, our impact gun for our tire changes. One of the big things that I encourage all Floridians to always have is this thing right here, a glass breaker.
Yes.
This will save your life.
Good advice there. You can head over to clickorlando.com to see Trooper Steve's full conversation with road rangers. Just check for the story. Hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekday mornings at 10, live on News 6 Plus, your streaming app, or your smart TV at clickorlando.com as well. Hey, Port Canaveral continues to grow, and usually growth means raises for workers.
But at the port, some of those workers say not everyone is getting a fair share of profits.
Coming up, a look at what the union president is saying and what those proposed raises actually look like. Jonathan.
Nice and quiet out there right now. We do have some changes coming away for Thanksgiving Day. There's a cold front slicing through. I don't think it's going to be dramatic, but it is going to look a little different. It's going to feel a little different. We're going to talk about that coming up at about 5:47.
Try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour early. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus.
Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
Taking a live look at Port Canaveral, where you might think $200 million a year from cruise passengers could mean some nice raises for the workers out there. Maybe they could drive around in some Bugattis making that kind of money.
I don't think so. But while that has been true for some of the people out there at the port, representatives for some workers they're arguing that that hasn't been a fair share across the board. Your Cape Canaveral community correspondent James Barbero gives us a look at the ongoing negotiations.
As Port Canaveral celebrates another year of record cruise travel, this union president is concerned perhaps not everyone working here is getting a fair share of the profits. I introduced you to Kevin Smith a month ago during the government shutdown. We were talking about NASA workers working through the shutdown. Now Kevin's here at the port. Kevin, tell us what brings you here now.
So we've been at the bargaining table with Canaveral Port Authority for about 4 months. And what's offered at the table as their last, best, and final is mere pennies to what is being given to the director level and supervisor level and everybody above them.
So you're saying while the top positions at the port, like CEO Captain John Murray, for example, makes $600,000 a year now, some of your workers might be struggling just to make ends meet?
Absolutely. The wage increases that were offered to them is less than $1. And during these economic difficulties, everybody is suffering.
Kevin with the TWU gave me this chart which shows the proposed raises. The lowest on the list is for parking employees. It's just a $36,000 salary now, and the proposed raise is just 72 cents.
We're at the point right now where we're putting our foot down, and we're going to stand strong together as an organization and make sure that we bring these wages up and make sure that they are enjoying their lives a little bit better.
I also work to get the port side of the story when it comes to negotiations, and the port told me that at one point over the last 4 months, they did have a tentative agreement on negotiations with the union. Kevin, though, tells me that was before the union started looking into the raises the port's management is receiving. Just like the bitter negotiations between Brevard County and its firefighters this year, the union tells me this butting of heads is also headed towards an impasse. In Brevard County, I'm your Cape Canaveral community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Well, you can see from James' shot there, beautiful day outside, pretty much for everybody in Central Florida. However, Thanksgiving, the forecast, Jonathan Kagas, a little more gloom to it. Huh?
Yeah, I think we're going to see more clouds come back through. That's because of a cold front. We're talking last week it was either going to cross Thursday or Friday. It does look like it's coming our way through the middle of the day on Thanksgiving. That's going to bring the clouds. It's still going to be on the milder side, more seasonable as that front comes through. Then the chilly stuff comes in on Friday. You can stay up to date with the forecast by downloading the free News 6 weather app. System number 1 helps to warm us up a little bit further over the next couple of days. So expect Thanksgiving Eve, if you will, Wednesday, to be on the milder side as temperatures get back into the mid-80s. This front here that's just north of Denver, that's the one that we are tracking to impact our Thanksgiving. And again, it's not going to be anything crazy. I think it's just going to look a little bit different. It's going to feel a little bit different than the last 7 to 10 days if you've been around Central Florida. Here's a live look outside downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Sky Cam pointed towards the airport tonight. Rain chances at 0%. Any of those clouds you see pushing through, just like the last few days, they pose at no threat to any kind of rainfall. Here are the changes, though, that come down the pipeline. Tomorrow on the milder side, back in the lower 80s. And then by Wednesday, we're keeping things into the middle 80s. We're going to add a few degrees on top of that. Then the changes come. Thursday, Thanksgiving Day is kind of the transition day as the cold front slides on through. You see what happens by the time we get to Friday, though. High temperatures back to the mid to upper 60s, so a little more festive if you're planning on decorating again as we get into Friday. Speaking of which, again, if you're up early shopping, if the early deals, those doorbusters are still a thing, it is going to be a little chilly. 41 degrees in Ocala. We're at 42 degrees in the Villages. Back to the upper 40s in Orlando, Kissimmee, and Sanford. Hanging around 50 degrees in New Smyrna Beach. This is going to be kind of a short-lived little cold snap coming our way. Really Friday, and then we're jumping out of it already by the time we get into the upcoming weekend post-Thanksgiving. On the tropical front, no new development expected over the next 7 days. Again, we are quiet, hardly a cloud in the sky. Social media would lead you to believe otherwise. Again, there's nothing coming in our direction. Hurricane season ends November 30th. 85 on Wednesday, 20% shot for a few showers sneaking in on Thanksgiving. More sunshine dominant on Friday, guys.
Looking good. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanksgiving just days away, and that means the countdown is now on to Christmas.
But tariffs are changing the way some people prepare.
Coming out, the local business already seeing impacts as they sell an item many gather around. Can you guess what it is on Christmas
Gee,
morning?
the mystery.
Coming up in the morning, another community dealing with a foul smell.
Oh yeah, from Orange to Seminole, from Lake and now to Sumter. The steps the county is taking to stop the smell.
Plus, we're timing out when the next cold front will arrive here in Central Florida, just in time for Thanksgiving.
We'll see you on News 6 Morning starting at 6.
A live look now at Port Canaveral from our Launch Credit Union Port Cam. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Thanksgiving is just days away, but for some, the Christmas spirit is already here. Some, like Ginger, my wife, my house is crazy Christmas right now. This year may look a bit different, though, with tariffs spoiling a bit of the joy.
For some, your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, spoke with the owner of a Christmas tree business about how tariffs are impacting plans when it comes to buying a Christmas favorite.
Well, the owner here tells me what makes this year different is they've been seeing way more people here buying Christmas trees since before Halloween. He says part of the reason could be because of tariffs impacting artificial trees.
It's that time of year.
Give you a little sense of Christmas.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
They all smell great and they're all beautiful.
But this year, the price for some decorations might stifle the spirit.
The tariffs have caused an increase in price from about 10 to 15%.
Last year, the U.S. Census Bureau reported 87% of the artificial Christmas trees, ornaments, and other holiday decorations imported by the U.S. came from China. The American Christmas Association advises decorators to shop early.
Inventory on artificial Christmas trees and Christmas decor will be a little bit thinner as well, because less was ordered because of the tariffs.
For the owner of Hazario's Christmas trees in Florida,
There's all sizes of trees.
along with a variety of prices as low as $30, leaving some making a list they won't have to check twice.
Such as they're tariff-free.
Because of that, he has been seeing more elves coming to town to save.
We actually started getting calls even as early as before Halloween. So this year we've seen definitely a lot higher demand than typical years.
Believing there's also a bonus to having a real Christmas tree.
They don't fill up landfills, and it's not the same tree. Each tree has its own personality.
Of course, it's not about what's under the tree that matters. It's who's around it. Reporting for News 6, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
Well, here's a look at what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
The closing of that Groveland Kroger fulfillment center impacting hundreds of workers. Now, Lake County leaders could take action to help workers impacted by this. The creative idea leaders are weighing and how it could work.
Plus, bear hunting season opens next week. We're looking at how many permits were given out as activists push back against the hunt. A live look now at the airport from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching, that's Mount Dora. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Now on News 6 at 6, fallout from the closure of a major grocery store chain's fulfillment center in Groveland. How Lake County leaders are looking into ways to help workers impacted. Plus, more arrests are made at a crosswalk at the center of statewide controversy over road paint. And a traffic ticket scam tricking drivers into paying bogus fines. How you can protect yourself. News 6 at 6 starts now. We begin with some breaking news. The estranged wife of suspended Osceola Sheriff Marcos Lopez pleading guilty to charges connected with the alleged illegal gambling operation she was implicated in. News 6's Mike Valenti joins us live in the newsroom with what we're learning about this situation today. Mike?
Yeah, Matt, obviously significant news here. Robin Severance Lopez will avoid jail time by making this deal, pleading guilty to 2 charges that are less severe than what she was originally facing. You remember, Severance Lopez was one of several people charged alongside Marcos Lopez, accused of taking part in an illegal gambling enterprise that prosecutors say racked up millions of dollars. She was originally charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to commit racketeering. Then prosecutors tacked on another charge, accusing her of lying on a bail application. Well, her criminal docket in Lake County shows that Severance Lopez has pleaded guilty to that bail modification charge and to money laundering, now facing 24 months of probation. There's also an important note in her docket. It says that the judge here is withholding adjudication. Under Florida law, that means that Severance Lopez is guilty, but was not formally convicted. So once her probation is complete, that 24 months, she will not be considered a felon. Severance Lopez was slated to go on trial next month. 3 of her co-defendants had already pleaded guilty. Now Marcos Lopez stands as the sole remaining defendant. He won't go on trial until at least next year. I've reached out to Severance Lopez's attorney for comment, and I'm waiting to hear back. Now there's another person linked to this case who pleaded guilty today. His name is Krishna Deokaran, pleaded guilty to money laundering. In a filing last week, prosecutors told the court that Deokaran was prepared to testify for the state, that he provided a payment from the casino proceeds to Severance Lopez, telling her, quote, "This is for Marco." Back to you guys.
Mike Valenti, thank you. To keep up with all the latest breaking updates, you can download our News 6 app. It's free. Just search WKMG in your app store. Well, we've been following this for a couple of hours now. The westbound lanes of I-4 remain closed near downtown Orlando because of a crash. This is right near mile marker 80, near the Soto area. From what we can see, there was a mound of dirt on the road. There's been heavy machinery, and everyone is still being veered off of this. And it is causing some real traffic issues tonight. It was through all of rush hour. We'll let you know when it reopens.
I plan on retiring there because I loved it being there at Kroger.
Well, tonight we're following up on a story we brought you last week, a Kroger fulfillment center in Groveland closing, impacting hundreds of workers, some who plan to retire there. Well, now leaders could look into using funds to try to help these workers find more work. Your Lake County community correspondent Emily McLeod is looking into where that money would come from.
While we don't have an official closing date for the Kroger Groveland facility, we do know that grocery delivery is expected to end on February 1st, 2026. Now county leaders are jumping into action, looking at possibly reallocating the money that would have been used for this economic incentive program and looking at ways to try and possibly recover the more than $1.2 million that's already been paid out over the last few years.
I'm angry about this, and finding out so quickly and the rug being pulled out from underneath us is certainly angering to me.
It's been nearly a week since Lake County was delivered the economic blow that the Kroger Groveland Fulfillment Center would be closing its doors. While an exact date has not been specified, grocery delivery will end on February 1st, 2026, leaving about 1,000 people employed at the Groveland facility scrambling to find new jobs.
Our staff is treating that literally with the urgency of some kind of natural disaster.
And while the county is focused on helping people who lost their jobs, county leaders are also looking at ways to recover the more than $1.2 million paid out between both Ocado Solutions and Kroger as part of a 10-year economic incentive agreement.
It was a 10-year deal, and we were only into year 3 or 4 of this deal. We will explore every avenue, pursue every avenue to try to get all of the incentives back, because it's angering. It angers me for sure.
For the 2026 fiscal year, Lake County had budgeted $400,000 in incentive grant money for both Kroger and Ocado. Now the county is considering reallocating that money to CareerSource Central Florida to sponsor and oversee education and training opportunities for Lake County residents impacted by the facility shutdown.
So I think that's good news for them, that will be allocating what was going to be that incentive directly to them to try to help them.
Certainly some welcome news for those who plan on using CareerSource if they have been impacted by the Kroger shutdown here in Groveland. Now, Lake County Commissioner Sean Parks says Lake County is still a great place to do business despite these setbacks. We have reached out to Ocado and Kroger for a statement on these proposed termination agreements. We're still waiting to hear back. Now, the termination agreements, as well as the reallocation of the money that would have been used for this incentive program, that'll all be discussed at an upcoming Lake County Commission meeting on December 2nd. For now, reporting in Groveland, I'm your Lake County community correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
Let's take a live look at the airport from our Light Orlando camera. Holiday travel is heating up with Thanksgiving only 3 days away now. Can you believe it? Airport officials say nearly 1.9 million people are expected to head to MCO through the holiday week. The airport says it's ready for a busy season, and that Sunday after Thanksgiving could be one of the busiest for travelers, with more than 177,000 people headed to the airport. MCO is encouraging you to make plans ahead of time for parking after the travelers told us they had to make adjustments with some uncertainty from that government shutdown earlier this month.
I was really concerned about traveling this Thanksgiving week, which is why we came the week before.
So the airport's encouraging you to follow that 3-2-1 rule. Arrive 3 hours before international flights, 2 hours for domestic flights, and be at your gate 1 hour before boarding. And there's no wonder why people want to be here, because it is beautiful. Yeah. The number one destination for people to come to is Orlando, Florida, right here.
Always that.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. That weather certainly helps, but you've got the airport delays behind you.
Yeah, the good thing is no major delays being reported across the country right now. The only real trouble spot at the moment anyway is that closer to the deep south into Louisiana, parts of eastern Texas. There's a weather system sliding through there, some severe weather moving through. But you see at the highlighted areas, at least the airports here, we're showing green. Now, this is for the individual airport. Individual airlines may be having some issues per flight, so that's something to always keep in mind. But there are no significant delays getting planes in and out of the major airports here on this screen, so some good news. Again, there is that weather system. You saw that little flare up around Houston. There was a tornado, confirmed tornado there earlier into the evening. That has since dissipated. We are quiet up and down the eastern seaboard, but changes coming in locally for Thanksgiving Day. Not drastic changes. It will be cooler and it will look different. We'll talk about how we get to the 70s, guys, coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. This just in, we're learning next month's bear hunt will go on as scheduled. A conservation group's push to try to stop the hunt went before a judge today who refused to stop it. Bear Warriors United filed a lawsuit in September looking for a temporary injunction to pause that hunt. Bear hunting has been very controversial in the state, with the last hunt held about a decade ago. The group says as many as 172 bears could be killed in 4 parts of the state. That bear hunt starts on December 6th. That is just 11 days away. Thousands of people across the state applied for permits with the hope of being selected through FWC's lottery system. Our own Catherine Silver is looking through new data obtained by News 6. And Catherine, it's giving us new insight into who was chosen.
At front doors and in driveways. We've shown you a bear crossing I-4, and even the sighting here at News 6.
It's no surprise we live with bears all around Florida, and starting December 6th, the state will have its first hunt since 2015. As we get closer to the actual hunt, we wanted to see who applied, how many times, and who actually got permits.
Our questions were answered through a records request to FWC.
These are the people who actually have the bear licenses that were approved.
I sat down with News 6 investigator Donovan Myrie to dig through the data. Thousands of names were on 2 lists, one of established hunters with licenses and one with just the bear permit applicants.
Hunting licenses, over 318,000. Bear license applications, 19,000. And how many bear applications were approved?
172.
We had 128 people that matched from those 2 lists, which left us with 44 people who only were approved for a bear license.
It's more likely that those 44 might have permits that perhaps will go unused.
Advocates against the hunt have snagged dozens of permits,
which will reduce the number of bears killed down to about 120 or less.
Chuck O'Neill with Speak Up for Wildlife.
Did you enter?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, big time.
How many times?
I bought 251. There are people who bought 1 ticket and won. There are people who bought 2 tickets, 5 tickets and won. So, you know, you can improve your odds, but you can never outwit Lady Luck.
The records we received show that 4 people applied 400 times, the most out of all of the applicants. Out of those 4 people, 3 of them did in fact get permits. In the newsroom, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
A scary scene in Brevard County where a standoff put an entire neighborhood on hold. This happened on Gray Avenue in Titusville this morning. It all started with police saying a family argument led to Julius Castellan to pull out, and then the police were called. When officers got there, Castellan refused to leave the house and barricaded himself inside. After 3 hours of negotiations, the SWAT team moved in. Castellan was later arrested without incident, and while no one was hurt, neighbors are still asking how this could happen.
It's over. They got him alive, and hope he's going to do good. I guess he was off his medication or something, I heard.
So Castellan's facing several charges, including aggravated assault, domestic violence, and possession of a gun. More arrests are made at a crosswalk at the center of statewide controversy all over road paint. You know the story. We're breaking down these arrests and the charges the 2 people arrested now face. Plus,
I'm News 6 investigator Louis Bold, and a local man got a telephone call promising to erase his traffic ticket, but ultimately cost him hundreds of dollars. We uncover how the scheme works and what you need to know to protect yourself. Coming up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
A local man got a telephone call promising to erase his traffic ticket, but ultimately it cost him hundreds of dollars. Investigator Lewis Bolden uncovers how the scheme works and what you need to know to protect yourself.
Did you ever think this could happen from a fender bender?
No.
Damian Shellberger was in a minor crash in his Chevy Silverado. He was ticketed, and even though the damage was minimal, the phone call that came about a week later was costly.
This is Sergeant Anderson with the Volusia County Courthouse and Civil Processing Division. I'm calling in regards to a citation we have here for Mr. Shellberger.
So this person had all of the information.
The price of the ticket, he knew everything. And it made me feel that it was true.
This is in regards to that citation for a failure to use due care, sir.
What normal person can know all this information?
Here's how. After you get a traffic ticket, it goes from the law enforcement agency that issued it to the county clerk of the court's office. Once it gets to the clerk's office, it becomes a public record. And all of the details of the ticket, the date, the vehicle type, are online for anyone to access, even criminals. Shellberger was told he could pay using a payment app.
I would have to pay through one of those, and I can get the ticket removed, no points, no nothing. Just pay the ticket.
He sent the money via Apple Pay. The crook said they didn't get it, so he sent it twice and was out of $332.
I don't want something like this to happen to somebody else.
This is actually a new twist on a familiar scheme.
He told me that I had a $20,000 bond and I was able to pay 10% of it over the phone through Zelle.
Back in May and July, News 6 told you about the jury duty scam.
Every week, criminals claiming to work for the court system or law enforcement call our residents threatening to arrest them for missing jury duty.
So many people are getting the calls and losing money that it prompted Orange County Sheriff John Mia, Clerk of Courts Tiffany Moore Russell, and Chief Judge Lisa Munyon to produce this public service announcement warning the public.
This is a scam.
The clerk's office will never contact you by phone or email, demanding money or personal information.
Shellberger wants others to beware of the latest evolution.
Because if I can get scammed that easy, somebody else can.
Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at theinvestigators@wkmg.com. I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
In Volusia, 3 teens were arrested after the Volusia Sheriff's Office said they tried kicking in the door of a woman's home on Sunday.
And next thing you know, I hear like
bang, bang, bang.
And I heard it rattle like it almost came off, like you hear it rattle this metal. And it's like the whole house shook.
Deltona has had an issue in the past with kids kicking in doors as a part of a viral TikTok challenge. Back in August, 3 kids kicked the door of a home on Loblolly Street. The teens in the most recent case are charged with felony attempted burglary. The sheriff's office says it's not ding dong ditch if you are kicking in doors. 2 more protesters have been arrested after they were accused of covering the Pulse nightclub crosswalk in chalk. They were charged yesterday with a felony-level criminal mischief, interfering with a traffic control device, which is a crosswalk. The judge in these cases did not find probable cause for the felony criminal mischief charge, but did find cause for a lesser misdemeanor charges. Both were granted a release on their own recognizance. All right, let's get you over to weather. We have meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. We're expecting a change in temperatures coming.
Yeah, we are. So the 80s we've had over the past few days, those will be going away on Thanksgiving Day. It's not going to be a crazy change by any means, but I think you'll notice it. Temperatures right now into the low to mid 70s, nice and comfortable outside, and we are going to keep things relatively comfortable and relatively warm over the next couple of days. When you wake up tomorrow, watch out for some patchy fog, but we'll have air temperatures into the low to mid 60s for the most part. May sneak into the upper 50s. Parts of Marion County will stay around 70 along the Space Coast. Tomorrow afternoon, just a few passing clouds as we take you overnight. And again, there's little puffy white areas that you see popping up there. That's going to be some patchy fog developing again overnight. The white you see on the screen, that's cloud cover by the time we get into the afternoon, early evening. Nonetheless, it's just going to be like we've seen the past few days, those higher thin clouds that mainly push on through the area. Now here's a look at your forecast for tomorrow afternoon.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency? You ought to call Strata.
We're back to the low to mid 80s inland, right around 80 degrees on the coast. Rain chances at 0%. We're going to keep it that way until we get to Thanksgiving Day, where rain chances go up a smidge, only about 10 to 20% before lunchtime on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. You'll notice, though, a little bit cooler by the afternoon. High temperatures only in the low to mid 70s. I think the biggest thing you're going to notice, though, on Thursday for Thanksgiving, it's the cloud cover. Our sunshine goes away just a little bit because of this front. So here we go Wednesday. May have a few stray downpours on Wednesday as well. Notice it crosses. There's 10 o'clock on your Thursday morning on Thanksgiving Day. You see a few areas of green on the map there. Just a stray opportunity for a few light showers passing by. You're going to notice, though, still late into the evening. That's 11 o'clock on Thursday. The white remains on your screen. That is going to be the cloud cover, and I think we stay locked into that for a good portion of your Thanksgiving Day. Now, as that front slides through, it will get a little cooler. High temperatures on Thursday, again into the low to mid 70s with the help of the extra cloud cover around. Be prepared for a short-lived little chill there on Friday morning. I think most of us are waking up into the 40s. Dominant sunshine, though, by the time we get to Friday. High temperatures, though, only into the mid 60s. So if you have held out and not decorated for Christmas yet, I think it's going to be feeling pretty nice, certainly in the spirit.
Okay, that Friday, you get your hot
afternoon.
cocoa out.
Love it.
Put the tree up. All right, sounds good. Hey, Ryan is here with Sports. UCF is hoping for a big upset Saturday.
This would be monumental, guys. Yeah, taking on number 11 BYU on the road. The Knights are big underdogs, but a win would make them bowl eligible. Plus, we'll have a Baker Mayfield update, and Mike Norvell is getting a mulligan. Matt Austin feels how about that?
Not great.
Okay, we'll hear from Florida State's head coach on the other side. Welcome back. For Buccaneers fans, it's all eyes on a shoulder. Baker Mayfield had an MRI on his left shoulder today, a day after the Tampa quarterback was injured in the Bucs' blowout loss to the Rams. Teddy Bridgewater finished the game. There are reports today that it is a low-grade sprain, and Mayfield could play Sunday against the Cardinals. Here's Tampa coach Todd Bowles from earlier today.
It's a big loss because of the way he's been playing and carried us the past few weeks and even last year. But at the same time, we all have confidence in Teddy. We know what he can do. We know what kind of confidence level he brings to it.
It's been a season of ups and downs for UCF football in so many ways. But the Knights have plenty to play for in Saturday's finale. News 6's Nathaniel Rivas has a preview.
It's all about the number one for UCF. One more chance at bowl eligibility. One more shot at a major upset at number 11 BYU. But the Knights are trying not to hype this game more than others this season.
I want people that play like this season's on the line in every game. That's what you want. I've said a bunch of times, we've got a lot of players that think that way and are going to lay it on the line every chance they get, take advantage of every opportunity they get. We need a whole team of them.
There's this thing I be saying a lot. I tell people, like, pressure's my middle name, because I like pressure. I like thriving under hard stuff like that. So it's a big game, yeah, but it's only a big game because the next one.
Getting that 6th win would mean a lot against a good team, because they're trying to get into the Big 12 championship. And I feel like that would really make our mark.
UCF has yet to win on the road this season, and the weather could be a factor Saturday afternoon, with temperatures in the low 40s, maybe even the 30s. At the Bounce House, Nathaniel Rivas, News 6.
Provo is lovely this time of year. Thank you, Nathaniel. There will be no beauty contest in the Swamp this Saturday when the 3-8 Gators host the 5-6 Seminoles. Florida awaits its new coach, while FSU announced yesterday that Mike Norvell will be back in 2026. It has been a massively disappointing season for the Noles, especially after knocking off top 10 Alabama in the opener. Norvell, who's been in Tallahassee since 2020, is 38-33 as FSU's coach, and he's happy to get another shot.
As I've mentioned, throughout this year, I've got an elite level of confidence in where we're going and what we're going to be able to accomplish. We still have a job to do, and it's about the job. It's about going to get the job done this week. I'm not going to let him down. We're going to get it done.
He better get it done, although he's got that nice old buyout that makes it pretty tricky to get rid of.
Well, at least he has an elite level of confidence. At least something's elite there in FSU right now. Thank you, Ryan. More news at 9 on clickorlando.com, the News 6 Plus streaming app. Have yourself a great night. Did I sound too bitter? I think maybe it's been a long season.
Yeah.
Let's just end it.
Soon enough.
Please.